Before we dive into these remarkable contemporary fiction books released between 2024 and 2025, Simplified Reads welcomes you to a thoughtful journey through stories that explore identity, connection, memory, and the universal threads that shape our lives. In the next few minutes, we'll unpack the themes, characters, settings, and emotional insights behind each novel, helping you understand not just what these books are about, but why they matter and how they speak to the world we live in today. This is where great stories meet deeper meaning and where your next favorite read may be waiting. Our exploration begins with the Book of Elsewhere by China Miéville and Keanu Reeves, 2024, a novel that bends the boundaries between reality and imagination while grounding its story in deeply human themes of identity, dislocation, and longing. The characters are grappling with internal conflicts, a search for self in shifting realities, and their development reflects universal struggles about belonging and reinvention. The plot's unique structure mirrors this instability, moving between contemplative calm and sudden surreal twists that keep readers slightly off balance, much like the characters themselves. Its setting, a reality that feels both familiar and uncanny, reinforces the emotional tension and societal commentary woven through the narrative. Stylistically, the author's blend of cinematic imagery and philosophical reflection adds layers of symbolism, prompting readers to interpret meaning beyond the literal. As both internal and external conflicts collide toward the book's ambiguous resolution, we're left to consider the philosophical questions of what defines truth and memory in a fragmented world. This opening sets the tone for the kind of emotional and intellectual engagement that continues throughout the list. This sense of transformation carries into The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo, 2024, where themes of power, resilience, and self-discovery unfold through a richly textured setting grounded in historical Spain, yet infused with magical undertones. The protagonist's development, from a constrained figure fighting for survival to someone claiming agency, mirrors broader social questions about oppression and liberation. The plot's carefully measured pacing allows tension to simmer until it erupts at crucial moments, reflecting how personal change often builds quietly before becoming undeniable. Bardugo's use of evocative language, symbolic motifs of magic, and atmospheric world-building deepens the emotional landscape, while cultural and historical influences shape the story's stakes and consequences. The conflicts between individuals and institutions challenge readers to question how systems define one's possibilities, and as the resolution balances victory with sacrifice, it invites reflection on the cost of transformation. This desire for reinvention continues in All Fours by Miranda July, 2024, a sharp and introspective exploration of midlife change told through the voice of a narrator confronting both emotional and physical evolution. The central themes revolve around desire, identity, aging, and autonomy, expressed through character behaviors that oscillate between spontaneity and self-doubt. July's trademark fragmented and intimate style mirrors the narrator's internal chaos, using humor and vulnerability to expose the contradictions of midlife reinvention. The plot eschews traditional structure in favor of wandering movements that reflect the protagonist's emotional drift, while relationships serve as mirrors revealing what she seeks and fears about herself. The conflicts stem from internal restlessness as much as external expectations, and the resolution leaves space for interpretation, prompting readers to confront their own beliefs about self-reinvention in a changing world. Aquique Emizy's Little Rot, 2024, deepens our movement through stories of personal transformation by focusing on the darker, more intimate terrain of trauma, healing, and emotional fragmentation. Characters here navigate internal conflicts shaped by past wounds, with their arcs reflecting the painful but necessary journey toward wholeness. Emizy's lyrical yet piercing prose relies heavily on metaphors of decay, rebirth, and spiritual rupture, adding thematic richness to the narrative. The plot builds gradually, mirroring the unpredictable nature of healing, and culminates in a climax that exposes raw, emotional truth. The setting and world-building reinforce the psychological landscape, reflecting how environments can mirror internal states. As the story resolves without offering tidy conclusions, it raises philosophical questions about identity, pain, and the non-linear nature of transformation, all of which resonate through contemporary cultural discussions about mental health and selfhood. This theme of grappling with selfhood extends into The Ministry of Time by Kalian Bradley, 2024, though here it is refracted through the lens of speculative fiction and historical displacement. Characters must navigate not only unfamiliar eras, but also conflicts between loyalty, belonging, and emotional attachment. Bradley's blend of humor, melancholy, and subtle political commentary gives the narrative a voice that feels both intimate and expansive. The setting, a slightly altered Britain infused with time travel implications, serves as a metaphor for the tension between past and present identities. The plot's gradual, suspenseful pacing parallels the characters' growing sense of emotional entanglement. And as conflicts escalate, readers confront questions about what home means when time itself becomes unstable. The ending leans toward poignant uncertainty, challenging us to consider how history shapes who we become. From temporal displacement, we shift to psychological tension in A Talent for Murder by Peter Swanson, 2024, where conflict takes the form of secrets, manipulation, and moral ambiguity. The themes revolve around guilt, justice, deception, and the consequences of hidden truths. Swanson's characters are driven by fear, desire, and instinct, with their development unfolding as layers of secrecy unravel. His pacing is sharp and fast, using a tight plot structure to heighten suspense while still carving space for introspection. The contemporary setting grounds the psychological drama, and Swanson's crisp language and precise imagery reinforce the novel's tension. The resolution forces readers to consider the ethics of truth-telling and the cost of revenge, connecting back to the list's recurring exploration of what people become when confronting their darkest impulses. Kristen Hanna's The Women, 2024, shifts the emotional focus toward resilience, loss, camaraderie, and rebuilding in the aftermath of trauma. The protagonist's character arc, shaped by war, friendship, and personal healing, illuminates universal questions about purpose and emotional survival. Hanna's richly descriptive writing evokes vivid settings, from chaotic war zones to quiet recovery spaces, that reflect the character's shifting emotional world. The plot follows a classic rise, fall, and redemption structure, allowing time for reflection and growth. Through both internal and external conflicts, the book conveys messages about sacrifice, duty, and the invisible burdens carried by women in history. Its historical and cultural context adds depth, speaking directly to ongoing conversations about mental health, gender, and reintegration into society. That introspective tone deepens further in Martyr by Kaveh Akbar, 2024, a poetic philosophical novel that interrogates grief, art, faith, and a human search for meaning. Characters confront internal dilemmas tied to existential longing, addiction, and loss. Akbar's language, rich with metaphor, rhythm, and spiritual symbolism, transforms the narrative into a meditation on both suffering and possibility. The plot moves in nonlinear rhythms that mimic memory and emotional turbulence, making the reader experience the character's disorientation. Cultural and historical elements surrounding immigrant identity and diaspora deepen the story's emotional weight. The conflicts remain more internal than external, and the open-ended resolution encourages readers to engage with the philosophical implications rather than seek clear answers. This philosophical inquiry connects smoothly to James by Percival Everett, 2024, which reframes a familiar literary classic to explore autonomy, narrative power, racial identity, and moral agency. By recentering the character of Jim with emotional intelligence and complexity, Everett challenges historical portrayals and encourages readers to reconsider long-held literary assumptions. The setting, while historically grounded, becomes a symbolic stage for examining systemic injustice and the consequences of silence versus resistance. Everett's writing style, sharp, satirical, and profoundly insightful, allows humor and critique to coexist. The plot builds tension through moral dilemmas, and the resolution leaves readers with unresolved yet meaningful ambiguities about freedom, humanity, and storytelling itself. Compared to Everett's other works, this novel continues its tradition of dissecting narrative authority and social structures with precision. Finally, Tommy Orange's Wandering Stars, 2024, closes our journey with a sweeping, multi-generational reflection on lineage, trauma, cultural survival, and the enduring power of community. Characters evolve across time, shaped by inherited pain and the resilience passed down through generations. Orange's prose, rhythmic, lyrical, and structurally inventive, creates an emotional resonance that mirrors the cyclical nature of the plot. The setting shifts across eras but remains rooted in indigenous experience, grounding the story in historical truth and cultural significance. Conflicts arise from both personal struggles and oppressive systems, and the story's reflective resolution highlights the ongoing process of healing rather than a fixed endpoint. The philosophical questions at play about history, identity, reclamation, and continuity tie together the emotional and thematic threads woven throughout this entire collection of novels. As we close this exploration, Simplified Reads thanks you for joining this reflective walk through some of the most thought-provoking contemporary fiction of 2024 and 2025. These stories challenge us to look inward, confront our histories, question our beliefs, and connect more deeply with the world around us. Whether you're searching for emotional resonance, intellectual engagement, or a fresh perspective on life's complexities, each of these books offers something powerful. Until our next reading journey, keep exploring stories that move, challenge, and inspire you.